Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about the 1989 release by Madonna, Like a Prayer. Now, take the idea of how big Lady Gaga was in 2010, or Taylor Swift, or Katy Perry. All of them together were not as big or famous as Madonna was in 1989 for the next few years. And I would really contribute a lot of that to this album in particular. I have other videos where I talk about Madonna at length, from Erotica to Hard Candy and Madame X. However, I won't talk about basically the whole Madonna story. But luckily for us, there is a lot to talk about with this record in particular. By the way, happy birthday, Like a Prayer. It was released in 1989 on this date, so it is 33 years old. Which is a pretty cool number, I think. It's a good number to review this album on. I made this shirt in LA. It's actually straight, but I'm so fat that it kind of looks like it's squiggly lines. So yeah, so Like a Prayer came out in 1989 March, and it didn't debut at number 1, but it quickly went to number 1. Actually debuted at number 11, which to me is rather weird because Whitney Houston's Whitney album debuted at number 1 in 1987. However, this debuted at number 11 and quickly shot to number 1 based on the first single, Like a Prayer. Like a Prayer became one of her signature songs, and we'll talk about all this stuff later. I just want to give you a little intro on the album. But the song became a massive global success, and she had just signed a $5 million deal with Pepsi Cola, Joan Crawford's Cola, and was going to do a slew of commercials for them. However, once the video for Like a Prayer came out, and it had depictions of Madonna dancing in front of burning crosses, kissing a black Jesus, and experiencing stigmata? How do you pronounce it? Stigmata. Anyways, huge controversy with the Catholic Church, and Pepsi pulled the plug. However, Madonna was able to keep the $5 million. However, she gave it back to them, I'm assuming because of some kind of contractual loophole, so they'd have literally nothing on her, so she can kind of go on with her life. So she didn't keep the money, however she could have. So at the time, and still to this day, celebrities do Pepsi commercials, Coke commercials, and such. And Madonna was definitely no stranger to that. And I think that would have propelled her pretty big. However, the fact that it got dropped, and then at the same time as this album, and the video, and the song was number 1 because it's so amazing, all of that combined, wow, if she did plan it that way, wow, that is genius. I don't know if necessarily Madonna plans a controversy to benefit her in sales or popularity. I think she wants to do things that push the envelope, because in the 80s, there were a lot of envelopes that need to be pushed. And I think the reason that we don't really have a lot of shock artists anymore is because everything's been done pretty much by Madonna, and especially with female pop. But I hate the idea now that we have all these female pop stars who dress provocatively, and people say, oh, that's because of Madonna. Yeah, Madonna dressed provocatively, but there was so much more to her in terms of what she had to say and what she had to deliver in terms of her art, and in terms of her opinions and the controversies that she did bring up to the forefront of our culture. And that's lacking, I think. I don't think we have that as much. Maybe with Lady Gaga a little bit, but nowhere near that. So this album was definitely the pinnacle of her fame, I would say. If she had one album that really just is connected with that. And it's thought by many to be her best record ever. It was her first really critically acclaimed album. Rolling Stone has called it as close to art as pop gets. And a lot of people praise its mature themes and the better lyrics. She was more experimental with funk music and more tender ballads and such, music she had never really done before. She really grew as an artist, but there's a lot of reasons why, and that's what we're going to get into. So Madonna had achieved a lot of success with True Blue in 1986. It had a slew of hits, top 5 songs. Then she had the very successful Who's That Girl tour and album. Both of them had number 1s. The Who's That Girl tour had massive success all over the world. It was her first worldwide tour. And the soundtrack had the number 1 and number 2 songs, Who's That Girl and Causing a Commotion. She did marry Sean Penn, but they did divorce in early 1989. I think it was finalized. And a lot of that pain and devastation of the divorce does go into this record. So this record really had a lot going for it, and there's like a lot of expectations of how good the record would be if you just hear all this. Like, you know, she finished with a grueling tour, and she had a divorce, and there's controversy, and there's a #1 single, and it's Madonna. Like, what is she gonna do with this album? And I think it was her first record that really didn't go with the trends of the time. And while it definitely does have an 80s feel to it overall, I think it's one of her most timeless pieces of work. No doubt she was inspired by Sly and the Family Stone, she said, and a lot of like funk music from the 70s. It definitely is here. I don't know if she mentioned like George Clinton or hold on, I know more funk people. Bootsy Collins. I don't think she necessarily included them, but you could tell that there was definitely influences from the funk sounds of the 70s on this album. Not overall. I mean, there's definitely pop. There's a lot of pop music, but she definitely went into more R&B direction prior. I mean, the first real R&B music since her debut, which was much more dance, disco R&B. This was more mature R&B, and she was maturing as a woman, as an artist. And you know, I kind of see her career of the 80s as very well planned out, where she arrived with like a dance album that would have definitely gotten the gays on her side, and then she had the teen pop record with Like a Virgin, then you have the teen girls on your side, so then you're gonna become really famous. Then she wanted to show the critics and the naysayers that she could sing and record radio-friendly music with True Blue. So like True Blue has great vocals and a little bit more mainstream music. And with this record, I think she wanted to prove, hey, I can be a serious artist and really staple my legacy of the 80s with this album. And I'm not saying this is her plan, but I think if she were to have a plan, that would make the most sense to me. You definitely feel the pain of her divorce in this album. Also, she was grieving the loss of her mother since age 5, and Madonna had turned 30, and her mom passed in her 30s. So I think Madonna was feeling a lot of that. There was a lot of emotions going around Madonna in 1988, 89. And just reevaluating her life and such after things didn't go great with Sean Penn. She did Speed the Plow, which was her first Broadway show. Critics slammed it. I mean, there was just a lot going on at that time, and she was driven and ambitious, and still like a human affected by the things going on in her life. And I really think that like it's not her best album. I've said before that Erotica is her best album. But I feel that if you were to have a time capsule and you put this album, the vinyl, not the tape, put it in the time capsule, and someone was like, well, who's Madonna? I think this would be a better representation of Madonna overall for future generations. Let's say that the world is taken over by artificial intelligence, and it's evil and it destroys everything, and all media is lost. We have no movies from whenever, everything is gone, but there's like one thing left, and it's Like a Prayer. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Like, I think this really symbolizes who Madonna was as an artist, and to me, Madonna's the best artist ever. So yeah, like, does that make sense? It's not her best album, but to me, I feel it represents her best and represents music best. But I prefer Erotica for different reasons. This is number 2 for me. Number 2, to be fair. So let's talk about the music. So she worked with Patrick Leonard and Stephen Bray, who she had collaborated with before on True Blue, and who's at Girl soundtrack. And by the way, Stephen Bray worked with her since the early 80s, doing demos and such, whereas Patrick Leonard, he was her, I think, music director on the Virgin tour. And I guess she liked the way that he did songs and such, so she worked with him. According to him, he was banging some chords out on the piano. Madonna heard it and was like, I want a song or whatever. I want it called Like a Prayer. He's like, okay. So that's pretty much how it started with the song Like a Prayer. And the album itself. They recorded a lot of songs, and a lot of it's unreleased to this day. However, some of it's been leaked. For instance, you can hear the leaked version of Like a Prayer online, and I believe Cherish and Express Yourself. There's also a song called Angels with Dirty Faces. It's like, there were angels with dirty faces. Anyway, that song's leaked online, and it sounds a lot like Who's That Girl? Definitely done by Patrick Leonard. Which, by the way, I found out retroactively that Who's That Girl had a little impact on music of that era. Like, you can actually hear other songs directly inspired by Who's That Girl. I didn't know that, which it's pretty cool. Yeah, for instance, like Jodie Watley has a song that sounds like Who's That Girl, and I think Pebbles, like, yeah, like it was kind of a thing. That's kind of weird. I didn't know that. I did not know that. They released, anyways, they also did a song called Love Attack. First, There's a Kiss and Just a Dream. Just a Dream would later be used by background vocalist Don DeLore as her as a solo single in 1992. It's a pretty good song. However, I really can't see it being well fit on this record. There's also a song called Supernatural, which is kind of about like a relationship with a ghost. And it was released as a B-side to Cherish. Probably for the better. It's a good song. I like it. It's cute. And it was later remixed on the Red Hot Plus Dance record from 1992. Pretty good remix, actually. I've always liked it a lot. I kind of feel if it's erotica more, but yeah, it's a weird song about basically being in love and having sex with a ghost. So let's get into the music. Like I said, first, this album did relatively well. This album did phenomenal, relatively well. Debuted at number 11, went to number 1, and the single Like a Prayer went to number 1. This album went on to sell 4 million copies in the US alone and sold millions of copies worldwide, became a global success. The singles, in order, you have Like a Prayer, Express Yourself, Cherish, Dear Jessie, and Oh Father, and Keep It Together. They all did pretty well. Most of them did really well. However, songs like Oh Father kind of suffered. However, we'll get into that later when we're talking about the song. The album did not win any Grammys. It wasn't even like nominated. It's really weird. The fact that like you have Katy Perry nominated now and all these artists and like Black Eyed Peas, and this couldn't get a nomination. Yeah, this is why I don't like award ceremonies. I feel like it's a lot of politics more than actual awarding merit. So yeah, no real awards for the album, although she did get the video Vanguard. What's rather weird to me is that Express Yourself and Like a Prayer, neither of them won Video of the Year. They lost to Express Yourself lost female video to Paula Abdul. Straight Up, which I love Paula Abdul Straight Up. However, I think Express Yourself is a better video. Yeah, it's a better video. So not too many awards for this record. However, the legacy of the record cannot be taken away. You can't argue it. You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. It's there. The legacy of the album, I mean, people respect Madonna, I think, because of this album. This album put Madonna on the artistic integrity map and kept her there. So no matter what she does for the rest of her life, she's planted there. Yeah, definitely became a mega star, a beyond mega, Michael Jackson level because of this record. Massively successful. So let's talk about the music, and then we'll go through the details as we're talking about that, because I can only ramble on so much about an album. But yeah, there's a big backstory to the album. I'm really interested of the unreleased songs. I would love for them to come out one day. And the interviews at the time, she was just so articulate and real. Like, there was just something about late 80s, early 90s Madonna that I really feel was her peak, her golden era. Don't get me wrong, I love her debut stuff, but and like Not Like a Virgin, Like a True Blue, those are great. However, I feel it with Like a Prayer towards like bedtime stories. I don't know, I just feel like that's perfect. Like, you can't go wrong with that Madonna. Like, not every song is perfect, but it's pretty close. Like, yeah, I miss that Madonna, honestly. I'm not here to say, oh, Madonna, please go back to that. She's never going to go back to what she's already done. But, yeah, I can dream. So let's talk about the album a little bit. Like a Prayer starts off side 1. This was the first single written with Patrick Leonard, produced with Patrick Leonard. Went to number 1 in many countries, including the US. It was pretty much my first taste of Madonna as a kid. I remember seeing the video as a child and thinking, oh my God, she's kissing a black Jesus. Like, and there was burning crosses, and Stigmata, which I didn't understand, but I kind of felt was wrong. because I grew up Catholic. I'm no longer Catholic, but I grew up Catholic, and yeah, it just kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I knew that it was cool. I knew that it was, and she had like this brown negligee that she was dancing in, the brown curly hair. It was very iconic, but she wasn't like blonde and luxurious. She was just had like a brown negligee and just dancing around in the church and in front of some crosses. I don't know, it's way more impactful than it should have been, but the perfection of her and Mary Lambert, the director of the video, just really made it pop. The song itself is amazing. She didn't really perform it a lot live post the Blonde Ambition tour. Like, she didn't sing it on a girly show. She never sang it like in the 90s, basically, besides Blonde Ambition. And she didn't sing it on the Drowned War tour. However, since then, she's sung it a lot, including the Reinvention tour, the Rebel Heart tour, the MDNA tour, to Live Aid, and she's never sung it, and Eurovision. I don't want to talk too much bad about the legacy because its legacy is there. However, I do have to comment, she's never sung this song well live, I've noticed. It's always off key. It's always very off key. It doesn't matter if she's standing still or whatever. She sings the song off key, but the vocals on the actual album track, which are her vocals untouched, are really beautiful. They're really good. However, I think she's kind of, and then she sang the song in the Super Bowl as well. And I feel like she sung the song a little bit too many times since then, and it's lost a little bit of its luster. Because it used to be my favorite song, but because she keeps singing it live so many times with different arrangements that don't necessarily work in its favor, including a trap version done at Eurovision, off key, yeah, Liza Bonita has kind of gone to the forefront. Because, yeah, she's sung that song a lot live too, but she doesn't really mess with it as much. And it's just a catchier song sometimes, like more simplistic. But this is a very good song. No one is denying that. It's a song basically that combines religious aspects with sexual ones. And it in a way, she's doing double entendres where she could be talking about praying or be talking about sex, having a religious experience or having an amazing sexual experience. You really don't know. And Madonna's never come out and said what's it about. Patrick Leonard hasn't, which he didn't do the lyrics, but maybe she told him. Although I kind of get like they kind of worked together and went home. Like, it doesn't feel like they talked about the songs and stuff. Madonna kind of seems like very professional. She writes the lyrics, she hears the track, she writes the lyrics, adds her melody, has some ideas for the song, goes in the recording studio, one take, gone. Like, bye, go home. Like, not like, let's talk about the song and what do you think it means? No, I don't feel that. But an amazing song. It has a guitar done by Prince, the intro, and he actually did the guitar for the 12-inch remix. Very good. They actually worked together on this album, so we'll talk about that too. And yeah, I mean, what can you say about Like a Prayer? Other than a lot of reviews of the album always refer to the line, take you there, like, I'm gonna take you there, which is annoying as shit. Please be more creative with your taglines of the album or the song. Something about Madonna taking you there, the song would take you there, Jesus, whatever, X will take you there. No, think of a new line. There's other things to talk about with this album. It's much more than take you there. I know that's the easy thing, like a gay person calling someone daddy, but be more creative, please. Also, Madonna talking about the anniversary, I think she said 30 years later and I'm still praying. I mean, that's like Carrie Bradshaw type writing, like, pretty bad. It's pretty bad. The song did go number one on the bunch of charts. Actually got on the R&B charts, not number one, but it did go on the R&B charts as well, because it does have gospel influences and funk guitar, bass line and such. So it's really diverse pop, rock, R&B, gospel song, which, she did a great job with it. And the video is like legendary. Sorry I'm talking about the song so much, it's just so legendary. And there's so much to talk about with this song, my God. Like, this is, but I wonder where it came from. I mean, maybe Madonna was just she's always been like the kind to mix religion and sex, and I think this was her opportunity to really do it well lyrically. Lyrics are impeccable. Her vocal delivery is impeccable. It's so vulnerable yet so strong. So well done. Amazing song. Definitely in her top 2 songs ever. Top 2. Maybe number 1 if you take away all the stuff, singing it off key and doing this and doing that, and I'm still praying. Yeah. Number one. Okay. But not number 1 album. Definitely number 2 for me. Next song is Express Yourself. Now, if Like a Prayer was like the big intro, Express Yourself was the queen sister, like the queen mother, basically. Like, it really propelled her because that video was everywhere. It's inspired by the movie Metropolis, a film that actually, like I was talking about, lost media. It was not a lost film, but a lot of the footage was lost for a long time. But it did influence Madonna a lot in terms of the stylistic aspects of the video, and even the themes of like the kind of like pro-communist, because they're like basically showing exploitation of a worker who's later goes for some reason to seduce Madonna. So yeah, the video is amazing. Please check out Express Yourself and Like a Prayer. Those 2 videos are amazing. Express Yourself on the album is more of a 70s funk song, very much inspired by Sly and the Family Stone. Just a great song. It's a very empowering song about the character is with a man who's not showing her love, not showing her respect. It's time to move on. Don't go for second best, baby. Either move on or make babies. Basically let him know that this is not going to work, and what are you going to do to fix it? Very empowering, very simple and to the point. Madonna is great at female politics and gender politics and religious politics and sexual politics. Those things she does very well. She doesn't do the other politics well, but these politics she does extremely well. It's a very empowering song. She's yelling, her voice is raspy. She just went through a divorce. You can feel the anger and the pain. But again, it's a pop song. Now it went to number 2, not number 1, because it was held off by Toy Soldiers by Matrika. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce anything. Why? I'm assuming people were buying the album instead of the single, because why? I don't know. It's America. Okay. But Express Yourself deserved to be number 1. It's definitely a number 1 song if you listen to it. But Lady Gaga's a big fan, so, you know. Yeah, Madonna's performed a lot of times, although much less than Like a Prayer. She did perform it. Oh, so her best performance by far was Go to the Girly Show for this one. By the way, the best performance of Like a Prayer was Blonde Ambition. Yeah, Girly Show was a great one. She has the blonde afro, and doing a disco version. Really great. Really great. Yeah, Express Yourself is definitely one of her peak songs. It's not my favorite song, and it was remixed for the video to be by Shep Pettibone to be more late 80s house music. So it has a and kind of takes away the horns a little bit. It makes it more not electronic, but very much more like pop music than funk. But it's still a great song, and either one. You can find the remix on the Celebration Greatest Hits collection, or Immaculate Collection also has a very similar remix. But the original's on here. It's a great remix. I'm sorry, it's a great version. I do not know why this didn't go number 1. I'm still upset. I'm very bitter about it. Very bitter. Love Song. That is her duet with the artist formerly known as Prince, who at the time was known as Prince. It's a pretty good song. They had been working on a song together on and off. They were like, okay, and they were doing songs over the telephone because he was in Minneapolis, she was in LA, New York, not in Minneapolis. And she wanted to work with him a lot because, it just made sense. And they were actually going to tour together, according to Prince. However, he said the world wasn't ready for it. I think they would have been ready for it. I think they would have been ready for it. Yeah, there's not really much to get ready for. Like, oh, hey, did you hear Prince and Madonna are touring? Oh, let's go. Okay, cool. Like, I hate when people say, oh, they're not ready for it. I mean, I guess you can't be ready for like bad news, but like, anyways. Well, maybe I'm just ready for everything. I don't know. I guess I really don't know. It's not the best song. Madonna starts with speaking in French, and it has a very Prince percussion in the background. It's a very bare bones production. And basically like, are you wasting my time? Are you just being kind? It's a little bit of a letdown compared to Like a Prayer and Express Yourself. You know why they put it as number 3, because it's Prince. However, I don't feel it's the best song. Like Prince, and at that time Prince did Batman, which is a great album. So I wished it would have been more that direction. Like maybe it could have been like Scandalous or The Future. Those are good songs. But Love Song? Yeah, he had written so many great songs for like Vanity 6 and Apollonia 6 and Sheena Easton 6. I mean, I don't know. But the song with Madonna is okay. It's like a 6 out of 10. Yes. Oh, yes. But it's very disappointing after the first two. The first time you listen to the record, you're like, huh. Okay. The next song is Till Death Do Us Part, which I feel like this is one of the first songs where she really went there lyrically. The song is about an abusive relationship that ends. It has a very video game type production of music. It's like, but yet the song is a very serious matter. It's a very upbeat song. You could actually dance to it, but it's a little different. It's not like disco or anything. It's definitely more rough, but it's it's up tempo, and it's about a divorce or basically leaving somebody who is abusive with their words, with their actions, and it's a dark song. It's a very dark matter, but she sings it and she conveys it with such emotion that's both subtle and in your face. In your face, I think, because of the lyrics so much. And then she has like a spoken portion where she's like, she takes the keys, he locks the door, and she's like, he locks the door. Like, I don't know, it's a lot of things at once. And I think that kind of makes it not too dark. However, it is a very dark subject matter. One of her darkest, I think. I mean, I think Mer Girl is a darker song. However, Till Death Do Us Part is about literally leaving an abusive relationship. So you can't really get much darker. And the implications done in the song and who's it about and the fact that you've heard all these rumors. Yeah, it's pretty dark. It's a beautiful song, but it's a bizarre song because of the way it's done, and definitely a standout of her discography. Definitely one I would check out. Definitely. Promise to Try is the album's first ballad. It's very slow, piano based, and it's about the loss of her mother when she was 5 to cancer, and how it still impacts her. And basically, she's taking the role as her mother, saying, "Little girl, don't run away so fast." It's a very emotional song. She used it for Truth or Dare in the scene where she went to go visit her mother's grave. And it definitely like makes you cry the first time you see it. It's very beautiful, very emotional. She never performed it live, and it'd be great if she would. I would love for her to do like a ballads, like a sad ballad, like Mer Girl and Falling Free and like Love Tried to Welcome Me. Just songs that are a little bit more dark than they appear. I would love for Madonna to kind of do that, like a concert, just like really sad concert, like a sad girl concert. She's really do that. And obviously her commercial songs for the most part are not sad at all, but yeah, she shows a lot of depth here, and definitely the lyrics are beautiful and poignant and perfect for this song, and nothing cringe-worthy or sappy about it. It's just literally about her pain and kind of what could have been. In terms of she's kind of looking back at herself as a little girl. So I don't know if she's playing the role of her mother or the role of her present day, looking back at little Madonna and saying this to her because of what she's been through. Like kind of like a retroactive older person. If I knew then what I know now kind of thing. Or going back in time and guiding yourself. Does that make sense? I don't think anything I say makes sense. Makes sense. So that ends side one. Side two starts off with Cherish. Now, Cherish was the third single, and it went to number 2, although Cherish was kept from number 1 by Miss You Much by Janet Jackson. That makes more sense. That was the first single of Janet Jackson's coming back after Control in that massive, extremely big era. Miss You Much is a great song. It appeals to both pop and R&B. The video was great. Janet was great. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. Also, Cherish was the third single. So, although Cherish to me is one of my first early Madonna songs I really loved. It was her like in the beach, and she's in this black. What is it? It's not. I guess it's a dress, but like a very conservative dress that she kind of just makes unconservative. And she's with these mermen. It's in black and white. Tony Ward is in the video. And it's directed by Herb Ritts, actually his first directed music video because of Madonna. She forced him to learn how to direct because she loved his photography. She's like, I'm sure you can do this stuff with videos. Just press the camera, instead of picture, record. So yeah, it's a great song, great video. I love the song. It's very like 60s girl group. I Love You, Cherish. Like it's kind of like True Blue, the song True Blue, only I think it's way better. Way better. Yeah, and yeah, I'm a big fan of that song, and I have been since I was a kid. And it's a great, if you're listening to the CD or stream, it's a great song to have after Promise to Try, because it kind of lightened things up again. But it lightened things up like in a cute way because she's in love. You can kind of see her singing this song to Sean Penn. However, in 2008, Madonna said that the lyrics to Cherish were some of her most cringeworthy, which... Okay, Madonna. Hey You, Bitch I'm Madonna, God Control, Iconic, Vidi Vidi Vici, B-Day Song, 4 Minutes, did I say Hey You? American Life, let's see, what else? I Don't Give a, Some Girls, Holy Water, Auto-Tune Baby, anything from 2015 to modern day are not nearly as good as Cherish. Cherish is like a well-done love song. There's nothing cringeworthy about it. It's not sappy. It's cute. It's innocent. It's sweet. Why is she dogging on it in 2008, especially after the Hard Candy album? Come on, Madonna. The standards have dropped, if that was her standard before. The standards are gone, hunty. Anyways, oof. Yeah, I love Cherish. I think it's a great song. And I think it's way better than True Blue. I'm sure a lot of people prefer True Blue, but I prefer Cherish. Because they are very similar. True Blue is more 50s oriented, whereas Cherish is more 60s oriented, like Supremes. I think it's a better song. The next song is Dear Jessie. This was also a single, although only done in Europe. It was a top 5 single, and there was a video that has animated Madonna as a fairy. So yeah, I didn't really see it growing up. The song is okay. It's very Beatles-esque. It's like very Yellow Submarine or Octopus's Garden or something like that. Like it's just very whimsical and silly and cute, and it's for kids kind of thing, like or like adults who want to do drugs or something, because it's not. Yeah, it was this Jessie is the name of Patrick Lennox's daughter, and I'm assuming he wrote something, and they were close. And does that make for a good? And also, this would have been a good move on Madonna to kind of get in on the kids market without really betraying her legacy. Like, you're not making music for kids. You're making like whimsical, weird Beatles-like music that kids will like. So very smart, Madonna. Very smart. So that way these kids will grow up and be fans of her, and she has like a whole new generation. That's what I see it as. But next song is Oh Father. This is probably the darkest song. It's about, again, abusive relationship. It says "Oh Father," but it really could be about any man, like patriarchal. Is that how you say it? The patriarch in your life, basically. It could be your father, it could be a husband or boyfriend, the priest at your church, just somebody who's abusing the trust you have in them. And Madonna in the song, she's looking back and she's like, maybe someday when I look back, I'll be able to say, you didn't mean to be cruel, you didn't mean to hurt, somebody hurt you too, basically. It's a very beautiful song, very dark song. She did make a video for it with David Fincher, who also directed Express Yourself. And what I heard is that David Fincher told her, this will make a great video, do it as a single. So she did, and the song didn't do well, went to number 20 on the US charts. So she was a little disappointed by that, because at that point she had 17 songs go top 5 in a row in the US, and this broke her record, or broke her consecutive consecutive top 5s. So I think it's a beautiful song. It was later released as a single in the UK in 1995, along with Something to Remember, the Ballads album, the Ballads compilation. The video is gorgeous. It's black and white. It shows Madonna as a child being abused by the father, and then growing up to being abused by her husband. So same character, different time. Very well done, very beautiful, heartbreaking. It has some controversial scenes, including like showing a woman with her lips sewn in the funeral, and Madonna actually being hit. It's thematic, but she's being hit. And yeah, it really has a really strong message. It's not on the video collection. It's on Immaculate Collection, but it's not on Celebration, which I thought was really weird, because neither is Bad Girl. Why would you leave these off? And say, if you want to leave something off, leave off Celebration. Anyways, or American Pie. Who the hell wanted to see American Pie again? Not me. But yeah, Oh Father is one of her most beautifully written songs. It's very dark, very catchy too. It's like, you can't hurt me now. Da, 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 da. It's very beautiful. According to Madonna, Patrick Leonard wrote the music and the melody. She just wrote the lyrics. But even then, her vocals are so raw and so beautiful. Wow, it's definitely a peak of Madonna's career. The video too, very underwhelming that it didn't go at least top 5. Stupid America. It's always America's fault. Keep It Together is the next song, and kind of like Cherish, this kind of brings things up again. Keep It Together is about the importance of family. Again, it's inspired by the 70s funk, like Sly and the Family Stallone. I only say them because that's who Madonna referenced to. Very funky, not disco, very funky, but still dancey. She performed this on Blonde Ambition. She did the Shep Pettibone remix with the Cabaret. No, not Cabaret. It was kind of Cabaret and a little bit of Clockwork Orange inspired on the live performance. She hasn't performed it since, unfortunately, but yeah, it's a great song. Just about family and the importance of family, especially as somebody who's like on their own in the big city. So there's some personal elements there, but it's still relatable because you can kind of see yourself as someone who, you moved from your family to the big city to be on your own, and now you're alone, which you got what you want, but yeah, I can relate. But definitely a great song. And it went to number 9 on the US charts. It was, like I said, it was remixed by Shep Pettibone. Kind of emulates Soul to Soul's Back to Life, Back to Reality. Has the strings and the drum beats. Yeah, it's a great song. Definitely a peak of the album, and a great choice for a single. Then you have Spanish Eyes, which is also called Pray for Spanish Eyes on some. It depends. Oh, hi Jade. This is my cat. Come on, Jade, honey. Let's go over here. Say hi and let's go. Anyway, so Spanish Eyes is a song that I kind of see it as a allegory for being in the closet as a gay person. Since there's Latino themes, I think it's kind of like a Latino gay who's in the closet and he's living in the barrio, and he feels persecuted the way maybe Jesus Christ would be, just something different and out of place and ostracized in his community because of his sexuality. However, the song doesn't expressly say that. It's more, I think it's just in the song, it's more about someone who just wasn't given a chance in their life, who had so much potential, and because of their, like, where they're born and all this stuff, they end up with a unfortunate demise. And she's basically praying for him. And I light this candle, watch it throw tears on my pillow. Like, it's like a story song, and then she's like the outsider thinking about it. So, and she's not like saving him or guiding him. It's literally just her telling the story about this unfortunate soul. Really beautiful song. And her vocals are so raw and beautiful. I love this song. It has beautiful Spanish guitar. It's just another peak of her career. I mean, now that I talk about it, like, yeah, this is a really, really good album. I mean, I've always known that it was a really good album, but like compared to Erotica, I think I gave Erotica a little bit of favoritism, but yeah, this is definitely number 2, still number 2. It's not going to number 3 or anything, but it's a really great album. And it finishes off with Act of Contrition. I always say Contrition, which also has guitar by Prince. This is when she reads out the prayer, Act of Contrition, which is a Catholic prayer, over some rock guitars. And then at the end, she's in heaven, and she's like, I have a reservation. What do you mean it's not on the computer? That was funny. When I first heard the song, I would have been 11 or 12, and I was at my aunt's house visiting, and I was on headphones listening, and I was like, and that's how this album ended for the first time. And I was a kid, and I got scared as fuck. I was like, oh my God, what is up? What is this ending to this album? But yeah, so this album has had a major legacy on me. So definitely wanted to talk about it. Let's look at the vinyl. So you have the back cover. I think everyone has the vinyl, by the way. It's not rare at all. The original album smelled like patchouli, but this is not. This is a reprint. I had the original when I was 11, but who knows where that went. Yeah, it's just a great album overall. Definitely one I would check out. So many iconic videos, so many iconic songs, so many iconic. I mean, I could talk forever about this album, but I mean, there's definitely limits to my channel's videos. Like, just for me, like, I can only talk about things so long. But yes, I could essentially talk about the album forever. Just its impact, everything about it. Just wow. Madonna's personality during the era, her songwriting skills, her image, her videos, her fashion, her vocals, the lack of awards, the real spike of critical acclaim, the chart success, the fame, everything. Like, oh my God. And what's really cool about the album is it was one of the first albums to come with a not a pamphlet, but a little fact sheet about AIDS. And it really was a great way for her to inform the public about the truths of HIV, because there was such mass phobia about it, and a lot of it went towards gays. So for her to come out and say, hey, it could, on the thing it says, it doesn't matter if sexuality, heterosexuals, homosexuals, it's about unprotected sex, drug use, mother to child. It's not about being gay. So that to me was really cool that she used her platform to do that, because she did not have to do that. And a lot of gay icons of that era did not do that. They really didn't even talk about AIDS. And Madonna was one of the few artists, besides I think Elizabeth Taylor, to talk about HIV and AIDS in the 80s to such a drastic point. I mean, such respect for that. And she still to this day is informing people. Lately, when DaBaby was spreading some things, she came out and she clapped back. She came and she clapped back, and she let him know how it is. And that knowledge of HIV and the politics of sexuality and all this and the stigmas and the everything about it, she really knows it. And it's like, wow, that's old Madonna. She's back. Someone who knows what they're talking about. It was so great. It was like a hug from an old friend. Yeah, Madonna, like, if you're watching this, keep fighting for gays, keep fighting for trans, keep fighting for HIV and AIDS. I know that we're to a point where it's not really the biggest issue anymore, like it was in the 80s, but it's still there. HIV still exists. And gay and trans rights are still at risk, and sometimes they don't exist at all. So definitely something we should still be fighting for. And because as we see with like the US politicians, at least, that stuff can go fast. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much about politics. That's not this kind of channel. Definitely check out the album. Let me know what you think. Let me know your favorite songs, maybe your least favorite songs. How do you feel about the album? Anything really. Just let me know what you think about the album and what you'd like for me to do next. I'm open to any Madonna album. I have all of her albums on vinyl, so I could definitely do any Madonna album. I'm trying to avoid Rebel Heart. I have it, but I'm trying to avoid it. I really am. Because I don't want to bitch. I don't want to bitch for an hour, basically. Well, I do, but I don't know if that would make for great entertainment. Maybe it would. Maybe it'd be like, you know, and I've never done an album I don't like on this. Well, I don't really love Madam X, but I don't hate it. Anyways, so follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link below in the description. And please check out my Madam X, Erotica, and Hard Candy videos if you have the time. Let me know what you think about the video as well. I have a new light I got for my birthday last year. I have not used it, but I was like, oh, hey. So I'm using natural light and artificial light at the same time. I did my last video for Tony Braxton, and I was like, oh, the natural light and the white shirt and my skin just, ew. But I can't redo every video for the lighting. So, well, thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great day, and I hope that Madonna's takes you there and that she's still praying 30 years later.